So welcome first of all, my friends, to the Great Greeks podcast. This is the first episode I'm filming if you're watching, or recording if you're listening, outside of Australia, and the first one in Greece. We are here in Glyfada and I'm with Konstantinos Synodinos. First of all, where are we, Costa?
We're in the marina of Glyfada. This is where I stay. This is where I live.
Uh-huh.
This is one of my workspaces, so I really enjoy, working by the sea. This is a very popular place right now, the overall area, because, there's a huge construction happening with Hellenic project and everything, so the entire area is a big construction currently.
Yeah.
So it's a good place to be right now. The weather is great, as you see. Good vibes, great people, and I love working from here.
I think most people that have been to Athens or Greece, even if they're not Greek, they've heard of Glyfada. It's a suburb that's well known, and it's the main suburb that's near the water in Athens. From an external perspective. You mentioned the weather. Every day I go to my auntie's house and she says, Vale bufan, you put on your jacket, you're going to get cold. And every day I wear it and I get hot.
Yeah. It's the season you need layers now,
Yeah.
You need to have a t-shirt, then a jacket, then a bigger jacket, and so on and so forth, because you never know. In the evening you might get frozen. In the day you want to go on a sunbed and enjoy the sun. So layers is the key.
Layers. Okay, I'm going to ask you the first question. And it's the question that, we hear from growing up as little kids to Ποια ομάδα είσαι? Let's start with that.
Okay. Yeah. Good choice.
We're okay. Excellent, fantastic. I wanted to ask
always
you.
Green. Always green.
We're green, yeah. We always say ethnic ομάδα. That's our, η βάση μας, αλλά τριφύλι. Okay, so I wanted to ask you first of all, we'll get into what you do and everything. What you're doing is quite frankly inspirational, and I'll talk about how I found you, which is an interesting thing. But anyway, where is your Greek ancestry from? What part of Greece are you from? Have you looked into it?
Yeah, I've looked into that, and from my father's side, Athens is 3-4 generations back. So I don't have a village or an island that I'm coming from, but the root of my name is coming from Amorgos. Synodinos. It's a Greek island.
Yeah.
I don't have a house there or relatives or anything like that, but I know that my ancestors have been in Amorgos at some point. From my mother's side, I have an Italian root. So my grandfather was born in Napoli. He was Italian. My mother was born in Istanbul. So there is a bit of a mix there, but she's Greek.
All the places you mentioned were all ex-Greek places, though, it sounds like, right?
Napoli, many people.
Right?
Yeah, Sicily, we still have, many Greeks there. So people were coming and going back then.
Yeah.
So, everybody is a mix, actually.
Yeah, of course, that's how it goes,
And it's actually very interesting because I had the DNA test 8 years ago, the 23andMe, that's how it's called. And you see the split of your DNA heritage, what is the
percentages,
where are you coming from, etc. And it was only by saliva they found that 35% of my DNA is Italian. Indeed.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
So they found it only from the DNA, and they match you with other people, first degree relatives, third, fourth, etc.
Wow.
So you see the entire tree, but also you get many information if you get the premium version. About potential threats about your health, things you need to be taking care of. So it's very, very interesting.
Hereditary, maybe health problems that can be passed down from generation.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
Very.
I didn't know it did that, to be honest. I wanted to talk to you now about how you got onto your journey. It's a very interesting journey. How did you get into work? Your first work experience. You got into that environment where you had to start making money to look after yourself and all that. Where did it begin?
I started as a kid, actually. When I was 16, 17 years old, I didn't want to just, play around in the summer and do nothing. I was always asking my parents to do something, like...
Even from younger?
Yeah, go to the office of my father and see how things were, happening in the bank, if I liked the environment, if not. I was very interested with, with money in general and the processes around money and how people make money. So, the bank of my father was something that I wanted to get involved in. And then my mother also did the same a couple of summers. She took me with her in a company that she was working back then. So I had my first, contact with the way that people are working. It took me a while to understand, how people are working, what's happening in the office. I was always curious to see, what are they doing, why they're doing, why are they sitting in front of the office, etc. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
And then during my university years, I started a small company in the Greek island with some friends as a university project. So, and then, I studied marketing, and I followed the traditional route of, working 9 to 5 in a big
becoming
FMCG.
an employee, right? Yeah.
A big company like Procter Gamble, Diageo. Before I decided to go, rogue and do my own stuff.
I read that you were working for Johnny Walker in Europe. You were managing a certain Western European manager or something, right?
Yeah. I was managing the premium portfolio of Johnny Walker.
Any Johnny Walker left from all the Johnny Walker you've collected? Is it gone now? It's finished?
Pretty much, yes.
It's pretty much gone.
Everything is done.
So, that's a pretty lucrative job. I imagine a lot of people would, cut off their arm to have that job.
Yeah. Very prestigious, many benefits,
right.
Very enjoyable. Comparing to my previous role in Procter Gamble, where I was managing brands like Pantene Pro V, Ariel, boring products, to be honest, right? I went to a company that had very interesting products like Johnny Walker, spirits, completely different, marketing and the activities we're doing to promote those products. So it was very enjoyable. I was traveling a lot, visiting events, running events, launching global products. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But at some point I was like, okay, I'm fed up with that. I don't want to be a career executive, like, going from one company to another, or, wanting to be CMO at some point in the company. I knew exactly how this looks like.
Right.
And it was not for me.
So did you know before you got into that world that at some point you would change the path, or did you work that out as you were doing it?
Yes, I had this understanding for myself that because I started the other way around. So I tried to start my company at the beginning, but I realized that I wasn't ready. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the work ethic yet. I didn't have the framework. I didn't know how people work coming out of the university, right?
Right.
And we didn't have the mediums yet back then, with the internet.
What kind of years are we talking about here? 2000?
I'm talking about I finished school. I started university at 1999.
Right, okay.
So we
there
didn't
was no social media, no internet, right?
Yeah,
or just starting.
So it's not as easy as it is now to start a company, right? So I realized that I had to go in a traditional company and see how people work, what kind of framework they use, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Get some background, some skills, and then continue. So it took me like 9-10 years before I decided to do it. But I was waiting for the right moment, the right inspiration, the right circumstances.
You feel like you've got a bit of experience working in those companies.
Yeah,
you learn
but also I had enough.
Those people. You had enough as well. You had enough.
You need to feel comfortable somewhere. You need to be unsatisfied to do something. Otherwise, if you're satisfied and comfortable, it's very difficult to take that leap of faith because it's a difficult step. So you need to be, not satisfied. You need to be a bit hungry.
Discomfort brings the inspiration to start something yourself, and to get out of your comfort zone, of course.
And there was an opportunity back then because I had some ideas in my head, but I was waiting for the right push. And the right push came when Diageo told me that, my role is not anymore existing, and I need to move to Singapore if I want to continue in the company, or to go to US for another role. I was like, guys, guess what? I don't want any of them. I'm leaving, give me my money, and I'm, going my own way. So I used that as an opportunity for me to say, okay, this is my time, right? I will get the money.
You saw it as like a sign from somewhere above,
I will get the money that will take me for a couple of years to experiment, to try stuff, to see what's out there for me.
Yeah.
And that's how I started exploring the startup reality.
Yeah. So Konstantinos, just to be clear to all our listeners as well and our viewers, multi-award-winning entrepreneur here in Greece and the US, from what I understand. And if I'm missing anything, please, fill in the gaps. Champions ID. This sounds like a bit of a pivot moment in your career.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that, because it sounds the idea behind it sounds like it's very unique. Something that I hadn't even thought of.
Yeah. So when I was at that moment that I was trying to see what's next, leaving Diageo, I was an athlete myself, so I used to be an athlete myself. I was for many years in the national team of Greece in karate. So I knew the struggles of athletes. I knew about the process, what it takes to become professional. how the small sports are from an inside look and everything, not so fancy, not so sexy.
Yeah.
And, you know, bringing together my business background and my skills and my creativity, that was always the case for me, the number one skill that I had. I was like, you know, I was really struggling to find something that would make a difference in the sports industry. And I came up with an idea about, you know, how we can really find new athletes, find new talent, to give them some more opportunities than they have currently, help them find sponsors. So give them a bit more spotlight that they have.
Right.
And that's how I created this platform called Champions ID, which was aimed to become a LinkedIn of sports in a way.
Right,
I wanted to digitalize the sports population.
Right.
And
across the globe, right?
Yes, global effort.
Global effort,
And we want to digitalize the sports population in every sport. So to have your own sport Champions ID, my own Champions ID, to introduce yourself without Champions ID, that would include all your data, your information, your biometrics, your sports attributions, everything. So and based on that, people would search for talent, right?
Yep.
And we launched that in 2016. I created everything from zero, from, you know, the idea, the business model, the
fascinating,
the tech. I found people to bring on board. I found a development team. This took me like, you know, 8 months to 1 year before it starts being materialized.
Yeah.
And then I launched in 2015. And 2016 we won 2 entrepreneurship awards because this platform got like 50,000-60,000 users in a year. Most of them in US. People loved it. Some investors loved it.
Yeah, like in the US, where the NFL was the NFL
American
using
football.
it. Football was the main one, right?
Yeah, many high school athletes, many
college basketball.
Yeah, high school basketball players were using that because they wanted to create something for their own.
Sure, it's like it's on an online biography course.
Exactly.
CV, right?
And especially those athletes, because, you know, the sports population has something that people don't realize. The 0.001% of the sports population, which is billions, is the people that, you know, have all the spotlight and all the money, right?
Sure.
99.9999% of the population don't get anything. They're struggling, they're starving, they don't have visibility.
Unfortunate reality.
Even today, 10 years later. So those people are really hungry about opportunities, visibility, and that platform gave them this kind of opportunity for them. That's why they embraced it.
Right.
The difficult part, though, was to monetize it, because, you know, no platform can really survive for too long without this monetization angle. And this is what the investors are looking also. So we had some trouble there after the initial hype and the awards we got and the recognition and everything. We couldn't get the money that we wanted fast enough.
Right.
So we entered the death valley, as we say in the startup language, right? Because, you know, you have like 18 months to 2 years to make it fly. Otherwise, you enter the death valley, so you're counting down. In a reverse way.
It's a slow death, isn't it?
Exactly. And because every day you have expenses, you don't have the money to cover it. So at some point of time, you need to pull the plug, right?
And so you pulled the plug on it.
I put the pause button. I hit the pause button for a while because I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. I mean, should I stop it? Should I quit it? Saying to yourself, you know, to cancel all this effort with all those dreams, with all this recognition initial and the hype and the excitement and the belief that, you know, maybe I made it. Maybe I did something out of nowhere. And it looks like it's working. So telling to yourself that, you know, probably it's not going to work.
Right.
It's
a hard step.
It's very hard. So I was like, okay, let's hit the pause button and see what I can do to find money. Maybe go back to the FMCG world, or start a marketing agency, or do something on my own, or try something else. So overnight, with a friend of mine, we were discussing in his house with a glass of wine, and we decided to create Simply Digital.
Right.
As a medium to start getting some money in my hands. I was drained.
Right.
I was run out of money, so I had to find money. Not to fund Champions ID, but to fund Konstantinos.
Right. So it was pretty quick transition then from one to the other.
Yeah, very quick.
And it was a bit of a desperation situation as well. That's
for the last 3 months, you know, I was in the stage of, you know, wondering what's next, what I'm going to do and everything.
Yeah.
And one night, you know, after, I remember that very vividly now, it was like after the new year. So I was like, okay, I was trying to find for the next month what's happening as next step. So around February, we came up with a simply digital concept. We launched it. Next day to clients when I announced it on LinkedIn. That's how my new endeavor started, actually.
Right. I'll tell you how I found you. As we all do, we scroll, and we're scrolling and going through videos, and every now and then I would come across different people that are, suggesting different online tools and things like that. And I kept getting this one, which was you. Kept coming up, and I thought, this accent is an English accent, but it's from where I'm from.
Yeah.
I can pick it. The person that's from Austria that speaks English doesn't speak English like this. You can pick it. Us Greeks, we can pick it. But aside from that, the information was solid, and it just stuck with me. Just the way the information was presented, it stays in your mind. That's just being completely honest with you. And then eventually, I went to the profile, you click on it, and you see a Greek name. And part of the reason I started this podcast is because of the pride I feel with what some Greeks are doing around the world.
That's right,
Konstantinos. And when I saw your page, it filled me with pride to be Greek and see that there are Greeks in 2024, 2023, whatever, and beyond, doing these things. For me, it's almost as though, without sounding, pride Greek and all that, it's almost like one of us is doing it, that means I can do it.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. It's almost like a DNA thing. I don't know.
That's great.
Have you heard other people say that?
There are many people out there that see that, but Greeks in general that live in Greece don't have this mindset, unfortunately.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Actually, they see the whole thing. People that are really trying to do something, and get away from the closed borders and the short ceiling of this country.
Yeah,
they see it as a threat. They see it with jealousy. They try to minimize it. I've seen that many times. I've seen so much hating from Greeks on social media that I cannot describe it.
Yeah,
and it's sad because my initial attempt with Simply Digital was to help Greek companies.
Yeah,
that was my initial attempt.
Right.
So I wanted to, and that's how I came up with the concept, because I found a specific demographic in the market, so small medium businesses, which is the lifeblood of Greece, actually. And I wanted to help them digitalize and become more digital savvy, because they were in a prehistoric mode.
Right. Yes. Yes.
But when I really entered the market, because until then my professional background had nothing to do with Greece.
Right.
In the companies that I was working, I was in a bubble.
Yeah.
Right. I was working in a very different mode with big clients in Greece, mostly with big companies in Europe, etc. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have a realization of the Greek reality, professional-wise.
Interesting.
And when I entered the market here, I saw a very different reality, dinosaur era.
Compared to what you were used to outside of Greece, because you were dealing with it.
Different mindset, very bad behavior, professional, bad work ethic, people not being eager to listen to experts and people who know what they're saying, and double standards.
Yeah.
You need to excel in what you do, I don't have to pay you. Right? In many cases. So I was like,
that's frustrating.
Dude, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let me transform into English my content, right? So after a couple of years of doing Greek content, trying to attract Greek clients and everything, I was like, I still have my YouTube channel in Greek.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna see my last videos 3 years ago. Because I pulled the plug.
You put the plug on that, or that part of it.
No more in Greek for me. Maybe the English part will never work because it's a long shot.
Yeah.
Right. So many other people are doing English content.
Right. But you went for it.
But I would give it a shot because I thought that I had what I needed. I could really serve a different audience, much bigger audience, way better.
Yeah.
And even Greeks were making fun of me when I was talking, the digital terms in English. Like, dude, I cannot say conversions, metatropes. Fuck off, right? So that's how I say it. If you don't like it, go say a cooking show. I don't care. Right?
Correct.
People want to criticize everything, and you can imagine how many people are coming to say about my accent.
I can imagine.
Yeah, go fuck you, do something else, in a very, very nasty way.
That's a shame.
Very.
And I know recently something happened which you don't have to mention, but you posted about it. You were very professional about it. Most of you mentioned something online that someone said something, and I'd never seen a post like that or a story from you like that before, but it upset me a little bit. But it does remind us, look, the way I see it is, it's good that we talk about these things, because first you have to acknowledge there's a problem before you can fix it. There's a problem in Greece, and if we can be part of the solution, and that means we speak in English first and then come back, that's how we do it. you know, maybe that's how we need to do it. But it is a shame.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, to be honest. But many people in the industry as well. I mean, the last guy that you saw that I was mentioning,
Right.
crossed the line because he called me and threatened me.
Yeah.
So that's a different story. Who, of course, would never do it in my face. You know that very well. Because it would
Keyboard
be
warriors.
And I could easily sue him, create a lawsuit against him. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to pay for the legal procedures. But I decided to be like, okay, leave it. I will not proceed one more. But it was something that really made me feel like, okay, I have ignored 99% of the hating and bad comments and everything by blocking people. But if you come in my space and try to invade in my personal reality by calling me and threatening me for a video that I'm trying to educate people, there's a different story, and I need to make a
point of
action.
it.
Exactly.
Of course. You have to stand up for yourself.
And I know who he is, where he is. I know everything. So it's a matter of a call to change his reality. But I will not do it because I'm respecting myself mostly, not himself.
Sometimes I wonder if people acting that way is simply their own insecurities and their own problems, which doesn't excuse it, of course.
Do you know anybody being successful
acting
throwing
that way?
mud at somebody?
Of course not.
They're always behind.
No, of course not. Having come across your content, it's quite clear you're doing very well in many ways. When did you notice, okay, relative to Champions ID, where you had some problems and you went downhill, at what point with Simply Digital, did you realize, okay, we're onto something here. Things are going well.
Yeah.
I know you did well with TikTok, for example, social media, Instagram. Was it a social media thing that made you realize we're doing well? Or was it something else? When did you realize and how?
Yeah, actually, before TikTok, my reality was, I was a small marketing agency trying to make a living. I had my first hires, and I was trying to build something, a scaling agency. That was the goal.
Yeah.
But when, I met TikTok and I started, understanding the culture, experimenting, started making some videos in the first pandemic, I saw a bigger opportunity because, things went really fast. I reached like 2 million people in a year on TikTok. So as you understand, the attention was insane. I got 3.5 billion views in my videos on TikTok in 1 year, which is insane. I mean, the entire planet that is interested in tech, AI, digital marketing have seen my face in a year.
Yeah.
So, career opportunities came up, collaborations, brand deals, sponsorships, podcasts.
Start to come towards you instead of you chasing it, right?
Yeah, I was not chasing anything. Every day my mail had 20 emails for people asking for something, even for people wanting my voiceover for a video game to do the villain. So in marketing and in social media, we're trying to gain attention for the right reasons. Yeah. And then how you can capitalize that is a matter of a plan and, having a vision where you want to go next. Yeah. So that's how I realized that, there are many more opportunities about education, about building my own software, about creating new services, about leaving other services aside that I don't want to do anymore because it's a pain in the ass. I can do better things with better clients.
You be more efficient with things, don't you, as you get better,
Like many, established people say, you can do things faster with way more money with the same effort if you change the vehicle. Right? So in 5 hours from now, you can go to Thessaloniki with a car, or you can go to Dubai with an airplane. So you need a vehicle, a different vehicle, right?
Interesting,
And that's why I decided to change the vehicle. In that case, because I had the vehicle, so I was like, okay, no more car, I'm going with an airplane right now. And I decided
to serve
interesting
way to look at things,
different clients, way more respectful. We were speaking the same language. They were paying way more in a least resistance way, right? So I was like, okay, I'll play a different ball, different stadium, different game right now.
You worked that out on your own, or was it something?
No, we were already back then. We were like 5-6 people.
Right? Yeah.
Now we're 25.
Yeah.
So I saw the opportunity. I changed the route, and since then I always changed and adjust and introduce new things. Now we're launching a new AI platform.
Yeah.
We created our own AI tool. Have already a different AI library, best free AI website that is an aggregator for many different tools.
Yeah.
We have an education platform. We do collaborations with Domestika, Teachable, many big education platforms.
Yeah.
And the opportunities are endless when you are in this niche and you are a established authority. And I love the fact that I don't know what's next. I love that.
Yeah. When you get to a certain point like you're at now, I imagine it's easy to fall into the trap of getting too big-headed. How do you stay grounded? How do you stay humble?
Yeah.
Because there is that danger. I know I've read about stories that people have reached that point and they've ruined it all because of this, right?
Actually, as a person, I'm humble in general. I'm introverted. I don't like bragging. I never, showcase my life out of what I do on my laptop.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that in my industry, this is something that happens a lot. People, showing off cars that they do not own, their expensive houses, etc. I'm not in that kind of reality. I don't need to sell my cars or my house. I sell it with my value, right? And the value that I give, I prove my knowledge and my authority.
Yeah.
So if you have this mindset, you're humble anyway, because you don't have to, create a reality that you don't really belong to. And I believe that everything can easily change. So don't really believe that what I have is something that I own and so I'm very important or whatever. I feel that everything is smoke and mirrors, right?
Yep.
So from one time to another, things can change. So you need to be humble. You need to keep going. You need to keep impacting people, and that's my greatest motivation right now. Because at the beginning it was money because I needed them.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there is a much bigger satisfaction in changing lives. I get so many messages from people saying, I quit my 9 to 5 because of you.
Yeah.
I started my own company. You gave me inspiration to continue doing what I was doing, and I won. I did this because of you. I made my life easier. So many different great comments. And that's for me, is the greatest satisfaction.
Yeah. What would you say to someone that has had enough of the corporate world? They're an employee somewhere, like we went through that journey as well. We had enough and we need to turn right or left or something. What would you say to someone that's recognized something's not right, and secondly, that whether we like it or not, the digital world is where the power is with the vehicle, let's say, right? What would you say to that person? Because I think for a lot of people, that first step is the scariest. How would you, being in the field that you are, how would you recommend to that person? What would you say to them?
Listen, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, first of all, right? So many people might hate their 9 to 5, but maybe they will hate even more entrepreneurship.
Right, interesting.
Right?
Yeah,
so
that's a good point.
It's not for everybody, and that's why I always say to people, try to have an inside look of what this looks like, right? How you start, what people are doing in our cases, what is the reality of their everyday reality, the fact that, for 2-3 years you might have 0 vacations, 0 weekends, no days off.
Be realistic, right?
Yeah. You might have a big win and then 10 very painful losses.
Yeah.
So you need to understand that, it's not roses and great gardens. It's a painful situation.
Yeah.
And especially, depending on your starting point, your own skill set, your own financial situation, the people that you have to feed, and everything might be very different, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have this kind of inside look, understand what exactly you're trying to do, right? Understand if it's for you or not, and then instead of looking outside to find the next opportunity, the next side hustle, whatever, look inside and see, okay, me, Konstantinos, Elias, what do we have as a unique skill set? What are our assets, right? That day one can really be put in the market and give us something back. How the skill set, those assets that we have, can really serve a demographic.
Like you're saying, what can we give, not what can we take?
Exactly.
Right?
That's people are looking to take, first of all, or to find something outside. The answer is not outside; it's inside.
Yeah. So great point.
You have a journey so far. When I started, I was 32, 33. I was not coming from zero, right? I had to understand that Konstantinos is an asset right now. I have 10 years on my back, big companies, I have my knowledge, I have my creativity. Those are my assets.
Yeah.
Like a company is renting boats, right? So the assets they have are the boats.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to rent. So I'm going to rent my assets.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
So that's the key there to start with. And then you can see how I can really find complementary people that can really give me more assets than I have, or pay somebody to do something for you,
Right.
And this is mostly feasible when we talk about service-based businesses, right? And I totally recommend people to go after service-based businesses when they start, right?
That's an
Because the product-based is a bit different.
You need capital, you need money
capital,
to start.
you need money to start.
Some resources, you
need research. If it doesn't work, it's not easy to pivot. So
interesting.
It's much more flexible to do stuff in today's reality with the tools we have, AI and everything, to start a business based on services, right? But you need to have some skill set. If you don't, start acquiring skills. It's easy.
Yeah.
Get a course, get a mentor, right? Every day, if you put the effort, you're gonna become more skillful. So before you leave your 9 to 5, choose a niche that you're interested in that aligns with your current status, your current assets. Try to make them even better, right? And then see how you can really serve the world.
Yeah, excellent advice. So we just had a café. What did you have, by the way, Konstantinos?
I had a sparkling water.
Sparkling water.
Too much
Very healthy
already.
Okay.
Too much coffee.
I understand. I'll let you drive. Are we going this way? I'll let you guide us. What's the best?
We can go this way. It's the beach side, which is really nice.
Beautiful.
We can go this way.
So, you've got a lot of clients now that reach out to you for consultations and things like that. Where would you say is the main problem that you see in clients? One thing that you notice regularly coming up that keeps them from reaching their goals, right?
Most people are very overwhelmed because, the digital environment with AI and all that stuff, it's so overwhelming. Even for me, so many times, you see so many tools, so many ideas, so many side hustles, so many people talking about different journeys and different stuff you can do. So people get overwhelmed and they get panicked and they don't do anything, right? It's like we call like we say, analysis paralysis, like too much information. And that really makes you feel like, you're paralyzed. You need to find the first step, and it's very difficult for people that don't have the experience. So that's what we're trying to help people with, to design a path that is unique for them and is based on their current position, where they're starting from, and where they want to go. Because most people cannot even define that. They don't understand what is their starting point, and they don't really have a clarity on where to go.
The destination, right?
Yeah, exactly. So based on what you want to do...
It's like a ship in the water that's just going in circles.
Exactly. You are on the port. Okay, that's your starting point, but you have no idea where you want to go. Or even if you have the idea where you want to go, you don't know the steps. Or you have a different notion about what are the steps. So that's how we help them, either if it's a coaching call or it's somebody who comes to us to work with. Of course, there are many clients that know very well what they want, right? And they're asking for specific things and they're willing to pay for high standards of services. But the majority of people out there are really finding difficult to set the path, to design the path in their heads, and that's what they need help for.
And the analysis paralysis thing is very interesting because I read once about the lion tamers at circuses. They hold a chair usually that's got 4 legs, and the reason that the lion doesn't know what to do and attack them is because they're focusing on all the different 4 legs of the chair, and they don't know whether they're stuck. They're paralyzed. I don't know if it's true, and I'm not going to test it. But
neither.
It's good for the example anyway.
But our mind is very smart and very stupid at the same time. So it needs very clear instructions to be able to create clarity, and that's why it's important, to create mechanisms, to build habits, to design a path, to write it down if you have a brain fog. Even for me, many times, I want to create a video and I get lost in my thoughts and my ideas, and I have to write it down physically. It's okay, chill.
When you write it down, it's like saving it, isn't it?
It becomes clearer. The fog gets away, so I'm able to find the first piece and start, building things. It's very important to see clearly the first step, and you don't have to see the whole picture, of course. Nobody has it, right?
Just a rough idea.
You just need to have a clarity. It's like you're walking here, for example, and there's fog, so you cannot really see where you're going. But at least you can see, the first 3 steps. That's all you need to know.
That's a good point.
When you go to step 3, you will see further. And that's enough.
All right, I'll ask a question now. It might sound a bit ambiguous. Do you believe, and maybe we've already answered it in a different way, do you believe you chose your path, or do you believe the path chose you? It's a bit of a philosophical question, maybe.
I know, and I have some thoughts about that. I also have a tattoo about that, which says, I'm the master of my fate, captain of my soul. I have it right here.
Captain of my soul.
Yeah, it's from the poem which is named Invictus. And for me, it really describes my mentality, which is like, I lead things.
Yeah.
I decide things.
Yeah.
My willingness to do things is what, really can change whatever I do.
Right.
So even if the path really helps me, or I have, some lucky stars, or I'm lucky, I don't know, and I don't care. And I don't believe in luck, because I believe that even if luck exists, it doesn't serve me at all to believe that it exists. Because I don't want to put my power to somebody else, or to external factors or whatever. So people that really believe in luck, how does this help them, right? They want to have an excuse.
A good point, yeah.
They want to have an excuse.
You can find excuses that way.
Or they want to say that, Elias was lucky.
Yeah, that's true too.
No, he was not lucky.
That's true too.
He worked his ass off. Maybe the circumstances were better for him at some point, but that was not the reason he succeeded, right? He would have succeeded anyway. Maybe not that fast, but he would.
Some people say, the other way to look at it is you create your own luck.
Yeah.
By doing the hard work,
exactly,
the luck will come your way.
For example,
right?
I started creating videos 8 years ago when I didn't want to, because I realized that YouTube was the answer back then for me to get some clients.
Yeah.
And when TikTok came, which was a great circumstance, I was ready. I was a content creator
already in a good position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was able to jump. It
wasn't lucky that TikTok came along.
Yeah. I was lucky to jump at this moment.
Right.
But if I didn't start back then, I wouldn't be lucky, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be prepared.
It's like the whole, what do they call it? Iceberg in the water. There's the whole bit under the water that you don't even see, and it's just the tip, right?
That's never visible for people.
Everyone thinks, they don't see the hard work that goes on behind.
Never. It's convenient.
It's convenient. It's convenient. Yeah. Baklava or galaktobureko?
Baklava.
Baklava?
Yeah.
Your favorite high school subject?
The favorite?
Favorite high school subject?
Math, for sure.
Yeah.
Maths.
Greek coffee or Freddo
espresso?
Freddo espresso?
That's my jam.
Even in winter?
Every time.
Okay. What's your first memory? The first thing that you can remember?
Myself being in the back seat of my father's Zastava, GT55, traveling Greece, going places.
Yeah.
Me imagining crazy things and sharing that with my parents, and my father saying, "Come on, be more realistic."
The classical Greek dad, right? Oh my goodness! So you went through it as well. See?
Oh yeah.
No excuses, guys. Yeah. My dad this and okay. No
but excuses. That's how they were grown. They were brought up.
Yeah. I understand.
You need to understand where somebody comes from. Really.
Correct. Right? What's your biggest strength in your opinion?
I think I'm a fair person. I'm a fair person with people. Like I treat them fair, I treat them properly, and I recognize fairness and justice even when I'm wrong.
What do you think is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is losing people that I love. That's by far the number one, and not even my health. I don't really get scared so much about myself, rather than the people that I love and I consider the close ones.
Which superpower do you wish you had? One superpower.
I think it would be to go back in time. I would really, really love to see things happening and evolve and get answers and see, all the things that we would love to imagine and see in the movies and see them, unfold in real time, understand how we started, things about, religion, about the creation, all that stuff. I would love to have answers in that.
Fascinating to go back that far.
Yeah.
And one final question, actually two. What would you, if you could go back, let's say, and see your 10-year-old self, 10-year-old Konstantinos, what would you say to him?
Dude, you're greater than you believe. You're greater than you believe.
So many doubts as a 10-year-old, isn't
so
there?
many. And every kid.
Every kid.
Everybody learns to doubt themselves. And, I'm writing a book right now, which is called Dream Like a Kid, Do It Like a Champion, which is it's combining the two things that I've done in my life, like the champion part, the champion's idea, and the athlete part, and the habits of elite athletes, and the fact that I was a kid with a wild imagination, no limits in my imagination, like all kids, and then gradually you start getting blocks,
life,
and limits and stereotypes. You get them from your parents, from school, from society, from television. Right? It's like don'ts.
Yeah.
So imagine somebody who has the wild imagination of a kid without limits, with the superhuman habits of elite athletes.
Yeah.
It's a non-stop power, right? It's a great force.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say to myself, that, you need to keep believing yourself, stop doubting yourself, and believe that no matter what you think, it can happen.
Yeah. And what does being Greek mean to you?
That's a good question, man. I think it's, the main traits that come to my head is, the soul, the heart, the courage, the determination, the appetite to live and to be bold and to explore, and philotimo for me is really nice as a meaning, as a term.
Yeah.
I believe that we still have it as Greeks, even if we don't see it very often. It's something that, we have this kind of DNA element that makes us help when somebody is in need, right? And we care about, we have this kind of empathy for others more than others. So those are the traits that I would love to see more in Greeks, because I believe are in our DNA, but because of circumstances and, the toxic traits of the era, we might forget them a bit.
Yeah, look, philotimo and hospitality is something that Greece is known for. We don't want to lose that.
Exactly.
It's something beautiful that brings a lot of people to Greece.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy it, especially us that have come from overseas, that come to Greece.
You know very well.
You get something to eat, and at the end, they'll just give you a bit of karpouzaki or a bit of yartaki. Someone might think, it's nothing. It means a lot. It just
I agree.
Creates
100%.
It's a beautiful thing.
And you don't see it anywhere.
No,
I was in Dubai now. Nobody gave me a glass of water. Probably not even if I was falling down to die.
Yeah.
Because I was choking from something,
But no one will steal your mobile phone there. That's the other positive.
Yeah, you get your water here. You get, a little bit of cake when you have your coffee.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely.
You might get a shot when you go to a bar and the barman knows you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those traits, and I would love them to. I would love to see them everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And still happening. It's really nice.
Before I let you go, I just wanted to ask you as well quickly, because AI is something you talk about a lot. And the first time I heard about AI, other than reading maybe Isaac Asimov books, I was a big reader when I was younger, is the Terminator, watching Hollywood movies, artificial intelligence, something in the future, very dangerous, That's the message we saw in movies. AI. Tell us a bit, you've been promoting AI a lot, and AI is something now different to some scary thing, although there are some people that still believe it's a scary thing. For you, it's a powerful thing. Tell us about AI. What do you think about this thing that's coming along, this phenomenon? What do we need to know about it? How can we harness it?
Listen, it's like an industrial revolution happening, right? It's something that can be scary, but also super exciting. Depends on how you will look at that. So there are many people that want to act like ostriches and hide their head in the sand and say, no, this is not happening. Let's stop AI. So many people. You cannot imagine how many people are complaining in my posts, stop talking about AI, stop using that, you're destroying graphic designers' work. I'm like, dude, do better. It's not stopping.
The reality is, whether you think this or that, it's happening.
It's happening. I cannot stop it. It's not in my power to stop it. It's not in yours. Not anyway. It will happen. So what I'm doing here as a creator, as a digital enthusiast, is to tell you, dude, you need to run faster. This thing is coming for you. It's coming for me. So I need to become better, learn how to use it for my benefit, so I can run faster as well. Because imagine any professional who is able to use AI, and the same professional with the same skills who cannot. Who's going to do better? It's very simple.
Very simple, straightforward answer.
Yeah, so there's no option right now. You cannot say, no, I'm ignoring that. You cannot. You will be depleted. It's very, very simple.
Very straightforward.
Like it or not, nobody cares.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here.
The Industrial Revolution, the way you described it, is perfect.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not a kiddo. I'm not like 25 years old, being crazy about everything digital happening. My head sometimes wants to explode from the information. Like, oh my God, I cannot really cope up with everything happening. But I keep going because I don't see any other option, right? So if you want to do better, if you want to improve, AI can give you an insane advantage. Especially against people that are really skeptic and still, thinking about it and saying, oh, this is not the right way. Well, it is. That's what's happening right now.
If you want to know more about AI, reach out to Konstantinos. Where can we find you? First of all, tell us about your services and where people can find you as well.
Yeah, if you search for Simply Digital on any social media platform, you're going to find me easily. So we mostly help businesses or big creators or people who want to create some kind of side hustle and they want to dedicate themselves in that to do that. So we design the path for them. We showcase the tools to do that. and we help them do that consistently.
Beautiful. Thank you, Konstantinos.
My pleasure, man.
I'll tag you below and mention where
Sure.
people can find you. Thank you so much. It's
My
awesome
pleasure.
to meet you. Keep inspiring
Same
us.
for
Keep
me.
doing what you're doing, my man.
Thank you.
Take care.